So, some of the reasons why people tend to feel tired, lousy, and unmotivated all the time is because they have what is called a Hey there, hey, this is Michelle with Brilliant Quest, and today I want to talk to you about why is it that you feel unmotivated and you're always feeling tired? Let's get into it. This is part 3 of a motivation series I'm doing, and I'm giving you insights to things that I've used over the years and helped others with, and trying to help you get onto your brilliant quest. And this is one that plays a lot of people. And I'm just going to say misery loves company. Uh, there are forums, there are so many different places that are talking about, feeling just like crap, feeling lousy, unmotivated. And, some of the low hanging fruit, of people saying, oh, you'll get over it. It's just a phase. And when you don't, you're like, what is going on? And so this is a more complex topic. It's not simple or even complicated. It's in the complex realm. And so I'm just going to give you a little bit from the angle of motivation, the part where it says, that you're unmotivated all the time. Okay. All right. So to keep this without it turning into a whole workshop, I'm going to do like I normally do. I'm going to give you the points I want to make up front, and then we'll go through them, watch to the end, and it's going to help you. All right. So some of the reasons why people tend to feel tired, lousy, and unmotivated all the time is because they have what is called a lack of vision. We don't realize that the reason why we have fantasy and imagination is because they are the tools that we use to get into the realm of creation. As an author, I have learned that just as much as it is difficult to live in this reality, getting into the creative realm can have difficulties and side effects. And people take it for granted that either, oh, I'm a creative or I'm not. Well, I'm just here to tell you everybody is a creative. It's those who do not exercise getting into the creative realm that say they're not a creative. And so being unmotivated a lot of times comes because you have a muscle of creativity that has become atrophied. And case in point, Elias Levy was a noted French alchemist who he lived in the late 1800s, and he wrote a famous book of magic for the alchemist. And what he talked about in there was one of the tenements of the alchemist, and that was that you can do nothing without these two components. And these two components were audacity, and you guessed it, imagination / creativity. And if you go on to read his musings about this, he even equates the different parts of the Sphinx from Egypt to drive in what he's saying. But for the purpose of what we're talking about right now with vision, he says that you cannot transmute anything, you cannot create anything of higher value if you first and foremost do not see it in your mind's eye, because that is where creation resides. And you can only create and bring things into this realm from the creative realm. If not, it's not true creation. It's mimicry, it's thievery, it's duplication, or a facsimile, if you will, of something that already exists. And feeling unmotivated, lousy, and tired all the time is because it's kind of like plumbing. You've got a clog or a buildup in your plumbing between you and the creative. And if talking about a French alchemist from the 19th century isn't enough, you can look at many different spiritual works, one of which says, paraphrasing here, that people perish for a lack of knowledge of that they have to take their vision and they have to publish it to make it plain, make it clear. And it's like, if you're trying to accomplish something, and that one that I'm talking about is from the Christian Bible, and it's in Habakkuk, and it's Habakkuk, and it's talking about people who were trying to rebuild a wall. And this is where we even get the idea of memorializing something that I'm going to talk about right now. And when you're unmotivated, when you can't seem to get yourself together, it's because you have not put proper respect on creativity's name. And it's like, how can you live? And the purpose for you living is to create a life every day, but then you don't create. And then when the symptoms come, you can't figure it out. Well, what I want to say is that stops today, because Big Sis Michelle is letting you know, wink, wink, it's a creativity problem. And it starts with just trying to pretend, imagine, have the audacity to say, I'm going to create today. So you might say, okay, Michelle, that's all well and good, and that's pie in the sky. How is it to do it practically? When you don't feel motivated, I'm going to start with the basics. You need something to eat, right? Right. Okay. So whether you're a cook or not, I want you to visualize something that you really want to eat. Now, make it something that you can get access to. So, yeah, you might want to eat lobster thermidor, but you have access to a fried bologna sandwich. Let's be realistic, because it's about priming the pump to activate our vision. All right. And another thing about this, with the lack of vision, is you want to make it clear. And to make something clear, depending on where you are, you got to start small. I remember there was a time when there was a young lady who was apathetic, who was languishing, and she came to me. And once we talked about it and I let her get it all out, I was like, okay, this is what I want you to do. I want you to work on your vision problem. She's like, I don't wear glasses. I was like, nope, you got a vision problem that glasses can't fix. And this is what I told her to do. I was like, name a fruit that you like. And she says, I like green apples. I was like, okay. So I helped her and did a guided meditation with her, as well as helping her to learn how to pretend, visualize, and see in her mind's eye. I was like, that green apple doesn't have to do anything, but it can hover there in the space. You don't even have to give it a background. I said, I want you to focus on a green apple. Focus on a green apple. And I told her, I was like, then I want you to go get the green apple. Well, of course, she contacts me and she's like, you're not going to believe this. I was like, what? She's like, I couldn't even go get the green apple. She says when she got home, her husband brought a bag of like a 5-pound bag of green apples, because he said, I know you like these and I saw them on sale and I picked them up for you. Now, of course, that vision will get stuff manifested for you too. But I explained to her, I was like, you did get the apple. I was like, what ended up happening was you created that image, and then someone close enough to you who loved you was able to be in the predicament where they came by the creation that you pulled from that realm. And so your husband got the apples and brought them to you because of your connection to him. I was like, yeah, you can manifest it. Because she was like, oh, this is scary. I was like, don't be afraid. It's simply that when you start learning how to create, how to take back the power that we're all given and the reason why we're all here, when you start priming that pump and you start doing it on the regular, you start getting, you guessed it, motivated to do more. Why would you be motivated to do nothing? That is the nil point of where we are. We fall down to doing nothing when we don't have any vision, when we haven't tapped into creativity. And thus, that's why you become aimless, lethargic, listless, languish, all of those where it's just, and it's, most people think, oh, if I could just laze about, I'd feel great. And when they are there, they're like, it's the worst place to be. Yeah, because we are meant to be producers, not just consumers. We're meant to be producers. And in order to trigger the ability to not feel lousy, to not be so tired, and to not be unmotivated, is to start with a vision. So I challenge you with that homework. Take something small. If it's a bologna sandwich and you have the ingredients, visualize yourself eating the bologna sandwich, then go in the kitchen and cook it. Or if you can't cook, get somebody to help you. I don't want anybody burning down the house on my watch. Nope. But visualize it and then do what you can to bring it into fruition. Like I said, unlike manifesting, because that's not where, it is part of it, but that's not the focus of what I'm telling you. I am telling you that you create in your mind and then you do the work to bring it through. If it manifests, great. That means that you are a powerful attractor. But a lot of times you must first earn it and then attract it. And that's just part of creation. Sometimes you're going to have to earn it. You have to work for it. You're going to have to build it from, the blueprint of your mind. And then sometimes you're going to attract it, like that client who we worked on a green apple, and she gets home and her husband has a 5-pound bag of them there for her to eat. So those are just some of the things that you can start right now with activating, reactivating, re-engaging yourself so that you get out of this listless tiredness of apathy and unmotivated. Okay, so the next one is, and it's still part of the stages that you can immediately start doing. And that is, you have unpublished accomplishments. What do you mean by that, Michelle? I mean that if you want to shortcut yourself from feeling I have no aims, start writing down lists, start writing down projects. And here's a trick. If you can't think of a list to write down of stuff, if you can't think of projects you want to do, start with the list of shoulds. That's in the mental maintenance manual that I'm going to be offering to you guys real soon. I'm actually going to be putting up a wait list for it really soon, so keep your eyes peeled out for that. But the list of shoulds are things that over time you've said, I should be, I should do. That is your highest self. That is your wise self giving you insights on things that when you do them, they will give you a boon. They will give you a gift. They will give you insight. They will give you blessing. They will give you good stuff. And so keeping a list of shoulds will tap into helping you visualize for things that you could do. Now, if you say, well, Michelle, all of my shoulds are things that are really just handyman lists and I'm going to take care of when the weather is pleasant or this or that, then focus on the shoulds thematically. Think of, are there things that you should be doing for your health? Because let's face it, the priority is health, wisdom, and wealth. Now, when I say health and wisdom, those are the same, because you can't have good health without understanding and having wisdom. So it's, health, wisdom. Then you start dealing with, the wealth of it, and those types of things. And so what are things that you should be doing? This is an aside. It's not in my notes, but I'm just going to tell you guys. Over the last year, and I'm scared to stand up, but over the last year, because I don't want to mess up this, I have been working on my health shoulds. And there are a few things that I try to make sure I do at least 3 times a week. And I don't call them this. There was this young lady who called them this, and it's called invisible exercise. And y'all, it works. Okay. So when I got done with menopause, you get that big old tummy, right? And when I got done, I was like, okay, this stomach has to go. What can I do? And I went and made a list of shoulds. And with the list of shoulds, there are certain shoulds that you energetically know you lying. I'm not going to do that. You know how you put on that, I should walk every morning at 5 a.m. I should walk 5 miles every morning at 5 a.m. Are you going to keep that up? Okay. But you know what you can do? Like on my list of shoulds, you know what I did? I was like, I should do more weight training at least 3 times a week. I should start doing calisthenics at least 3 times a week. Well, there was this young lady who lost a lot of weight, and she said that she would do things like when she was making a cup of tea, she would do a little exercise and stuff. And so I started doing it. And so I have kettlebells, and I actually end up doing it more than 3 times a week now, but I would make sure that I swung my kettlebells, for a certain amount of time. I like to try to get between 200 and 300 swings in a given day if I'm going to do that. And for me, it takes me 2.5 minutes to do 100 kettlebell swings. So I already know that that's under 10 minutes to get 300 kettlebell swings throughout the day. I don't just do them all at once, but throughout the day. And then I microwave. I know y'all might be like, Michelle, don't microwave, but I will microwave some stuff. Or when I'm waiting on my tea kettle, I'll do squats or I'll do high knees, the calisthenic stuff to get the heart rate, but you're using your own body weight, to do those types of things. And I was laughing because last night I was finishing up some of them and my watch said, good job, you did blah, 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 blah. And I wasn't even trying, but through the course of the day, invisible exercise was doing that. There's this book called The Body Keeps Score. And it's a great book because it talks about the power of compounding, of doing good or bad stuff and how you might forget, but your body doesn't. And so, that's one. Okay, but let me get back on because I was a little sidetracked. Thank you for listening to that. So unpublished accomplishments. The shoulds list will help you to start doing stuff, but then come back and write down what you accomplished. Now, I have talked, I think, ad nauseum about my love of journaling and how I journal each night. I've shown you guys in my live one of my composition notebooks. I've talked about it in other videos, and I'm telling you, goodness, when you start writing out what you got done in a given day, it's just, you can quickly, the first part you say is, I published my YouTube video. I did 300 kettlebell swings. I did 500 squats. I did this or I did that. I changed the linen on the bed like I was supposed to on Saturday. Just different little things. You might forget that you're writing them down, but when you publish it, because that's what it is, writing it, the vision becomes clearer and clearer about who you are, what you can accomplish, what you have accomplished, and what you will accomplish. Because when you start developing that habit and possibly ritual of publishing your accomplishments, it is something about how our minds, our brains, and this world that we're in, they work in concert to give you more direction, more oomph to continue to get stuff done. If you just let it swirl around in your mind, it's just taking up unnecessary space and energy that you could be using to focus on something. So publishing it, like I said, start with lists and projects. If you don't have those, start with your I should, list. If you don't know which ones to start with health. Get your health right. Start with wisdom. Start learning and turning what you learn into practical, useful information for yourself. Money. Start working on getting better money. Those are some of the areas you can't miss if you do those with that. Okay. All right. So then the next thing is you want to make sure that you are not having energy thieves. There's no energy thievery going around. So what do you mean by that, Michelle? How is that going to help me that I'm tired, I'm unfocused, and I feel lousy? As I said before, You're going to start to look, and I've started giving you what I want you to look at. I want you to check your health first. And when you say check your health, yeah, you can go to the doctor. Of course, I advocate for that. But I'm going to tell you to start with simple things. Start with breathing. It used to be smoking was the bad thing. It still is. But then they moved to sitting. They said sitting is just as bad as smoking. Well, honey, they have worked on a new one. And do you know what it is? It's breathing. The more we tend to sit in front of a computer screen or technology, and we're engaged with this artificial monitor back at us and not engaged with a person right in front of us, we tend to have more shallow breathing. Look it up. The research has been released. And thus it starts to mess with us. So not only are we sitting longer, we're not breathing as deeply. And that can mess with your health. They said it's even worse than sitting for too long and for smoking. So breathing, start with that. Start doing inventory. I always talk about breathing, having a break here and there where you do a check-in with yourself. How do I feel? Get some breaths in and make sure that you're being more conscious about your breathing. It is the first gift you get in this world, and it is the last gift you give back to this world. So make sure that your breathing is on point. All right, the next one is mental mental concerns. So worrying, yes, looping thoughts, intrusive thoughts, too much daydreaming. Yeah, there are a lot of people that spend a lot of time in the what if world, and you have to rein that in, because there is a sweet spot that you must find. And I can't tell you what it is for you. It's an individual thing. But when your daydreaming causes you to be checked out more than you are engaged in what you're supposed to do, it will lead you to the languishing, the aimlessness, the lethargy, all of those types of things, because it's in this world that has or this realm or dimension, it's in this realm that doesn't have form or function. And so the energy that is being stolen from you, that's appointed for this reality, is being squandered. Okay, so you want to check that one. Make sure that you're not having energy thieves there. And then unprocessed emotions and air. So unprocessed emotions. There are people who are doing a lot of great work out here talking about shock and trauma and emotional release techniques. There's a great one that's, deals with shaking, that you can, shake. There are so many different modalities that are working, but it just goes to show how we have moved away from what we thought was just movement of the body, calisthenics, just what you would do on the regular, to now it's showing that it had a high impact to help us to not struggle so much with having the energy zapped out of us. And movement, whether it be exercise or Tai Chi or Qigong or yoga or any of those others, that's fine and well. But if you're not a person and that's not calling to you, one of the things I'm really going to ask you to do is I'm going to ask you to start allowing yourself to feel. Practice feeling. Some people, and this is real, this is not an example, some people have had to be on guard and shielded from showing their emotions to survive for so long that they are totally disassociated. They are numb inside. They do not know how to process, how to feel. But guess what? They're still having emotions that are just not registering. So think about if you have had silent screams going on for 30 years and you don't know that that's happening to you. Remember when I talked about that book, The Body Keeps Score? He talks a little bit about this unprocessed emotional state and how it really starts to do damage. There's a term, and I'll cover it, but I have it playing way in the distance, but it's called somatic ailments. And a somatic ailment is where you haven't dealt with emotions or feelings, and so you've not become conscious of it. It's fallen into your subconscious, and now it's being expressed in the body. And so that's where you have psychosomatic or somatic manifestations of illness. And so that is an energy thief that you need to be aware of. A little while ago, I talked about the negative emotions, 7 negative emotions. This is not exhaustive, but 7 of the big hitters. And of those 7, 2 of them must be moved out of the body, and that is fear and anger. So I'm going to just give you that real quick as a shortcut because I want to be practical. Fear and anger must be moved. That's why somebody who is angry might punch a wall, or kick something, because that anger must be gotten out of the wall. I mean, not out of the wall. You shouldn't be punching the wall. Must be gotten out some way. Doing things like when I realized that I had suppressed anger for many years, I started jump roping. I was younger, but I started jump roping. And I'm telling you, it is hard to jump for 4 minutes, for 2 minutes, let alone the 4 that they say you're supposed to jump, to be healthy. But I would jump and I would just be getting the anger out because for whatever reason, I felt shame about not being perfect, that worthiness of having anger and, not showing it because I didn't want to be the angry Black woman and all this kind of stuff. And once I started doing that, I started being able to reclaim some of the energy and not be so tired. I've talked about depression and some forms, because they have many forms of depression, but some forms of depression are unprocessed anger. It takes so much energy to keep that junk down that you don't have any energy for your outward show of personality or motivation. So these are some of the areas that I want you to look at. All right, so I'm going to go on and recap this because, y'all, if you are truly feeling tired and lousy and unmotivated, and it's not a temporary illness that's got you in the bed, it's just a malaise, a persistent malaise, you're like, here are some of the things. I want you to get your vision clear. And when I say vision, I want you to start practicing. Remember when I had the client with the green apple? Remember when I talked about a bologna sandwich? I mean, I don't eat bologna, but whatever it is, something that you get you a quick win, because you're going to, depending on how you are and where you are, you establish the vision and then you work for it, whether you earn it or you attract it or both. You do what you need and must do to make that vision manifest. The next thing is you're going to work on your unpublished accomplishments by starting with a list, a project, or a list of shoulds. And once you start working on those shoulds, journal about them, or even just write down what you got done. Make it a habit, make it a ritual. At the end of the day, what did you accomplish? Because that is going to then help you and everything about you to get internal clarity on what's the next vision or the next thing that you're going to do. And by doing that, you're going to trigger your motivation to get them done. Then after that, you're going to evaluate where is energy being stolen from you. You're going to focus on your health, wisdom, and wealth, and you're going to work on making sure that you breathe. That's one of the easiest ones. It's for free for right now, unless they figure out how to make you pay for air and breathing. But you can do breathing for the health. Mental concerns. Where are you worrying? Where are you dreading? Where are you living outside of the now? If you're dreading and anxious, that's in the future. If you are reliving regret and reliving past things, that's in the past, and that's depression. Making sure that you get rid of unprocessed emotions and stale air and energy. Fear and anger, push it out of the body, move it out of the body. Guilt, jealousy. I'm trying to think of some of those off the top of my head. You know what? I'll put that up. The 7 negatives. I'll put it up here so that you can see it. Those must be expressed out of the body by journaling or talking about it. Okay. And so what you want to do is you want to make sure that you are taking all of this into consideration. All right. So what I want you to do, is I want you to watch the next video here. And I want you to, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. And I'm going to see you on the next one. And this has been Michelle, your big sis with Brilliant Quest. Bye.